I don't know if you saw it, but there's a video going around of cops in New York where a New Yorker calls one of the cops Jackie Chan. And people are freaking out, saying it's racist, it's this, it's that. And this is exactly what the Black Death Cult wants, a distraction. You're being distracted and you're being fed ideas. And no matter what idea you're fed in this scenario, you lose. You lose. Because you're missing a bigger, deeper picture on what's actually happening. And I'm going to break this down for you and show you exactly what's happening here. First off, this is a sergeant. It looks like his name is Mark Sargent, something Mark. M-A-R-K may be his last name. But he's a police sergeant with the city of New York, NYPD. This stuff is what I call voyeur. It's any line, dot, or symbol made by man. He's wearing it. Look, NY, that's voyeur. That's voyeur. That's voyeur. That's voyeur. And he's allowed to wear this because he is fully endorsed by the Black Death Cult. All this voyeur originated in caves 30,000 years ago. 30,000 years ago. Code hidden in Stone Age art may be the root of human writing. Well, it is. And this guy's hiding behind it. Actually, what he's hiding behind is violence, but he's using this voyeur to show you he's a violent individual. All these markings indicate I'm a violent individual. Just that's all you have to be aware of. See, they tell him that he was about to pull out his gun. We don't know what happened before this, but he's saying, no, I didn't. I wasn't going to pull out my gun. Well, look at him. Chances of him pulling out a gun on you, almost 100%. If he wants to pull out a gun on you, he'll do it. Okay? And he'll be protected by other Black Death Cult members. Now he's claiming, no, I didn't. I wasn't going to pull out a gun, but guess what? He probably was. Because cops will lie. Police will lie. Constantly, they have lied. So there are notorious liars. They will lie. And when you ask the district attorney, well, they lied, they don't care. When you ask the governor, well, they lied, he doesn't care. When you ask the Benevolent Association of Police Officers, well, he lied, they don't care. Nobody cares when cops lie. Nobody. They get away with lying all day, every day. So the chances of him lying here are almost 100%. See, it is common in these scenarios for cops, when you walk behind them, for them to get very uncomfortable. And I don't blame them. I mean, you can't blame a cop for being worried. Look, he got caught in a lie. You can't blame a cop for being worried about his safety. He's coming into a community extracting money. He's extracting funds. You have to pay. You have to pay for this guy. You're paying for this guy's salary. This guy right here makes probably about $115,000 a year, just at a cursory search. He could make up to $177,000, but just the average base pay for a police sergeant in the New York Police Department is $115,000. So he's probably clearing, $115,000 a year. This guy right here. Right here. No, they don't know. Now he's going to turn around and he's going to lecture him. See, now he's going to turn around because he can't do anything. He can't violence them. They caught him in his lie. They caught him in his lie. Oh, I wasn't going to violence you. No, I wasn't going to pull out my gun. I didn't have my hand on my gun. I wasn't going to do anything violent to you. Oh, yeah, he was. If this camera wasn't here, believe 100% this guy would violence these kids. 100%. 100%. Back before cameras, cops would violence you in 1 second. You had zero opportunity to do anything except get violenced before these cameras came around that could record these guys. The New York Police Department was invented in 1845. Okay, they have been violencing people off camera for 100+ years. Okay, 100+ years. Okay. So here he is. Listen to what he says here now. When he's going to turn around and lecture these guys, he got caught in his lie. He's on camera. He can't violence them, so he's going to lecture them. He's going to tell them the way it is according to him. I'm a police officer. I know better than you what's good for you. Now listen to what he says. This is why you guys live out here like this. Okay, this is a glimpse into the mind of, this is a police sergeant now. This is not just a normal duty officer. This guy is in charge of people. He's in charge of a whole bunch of people. Okay, he can be in charge of a whole precinct. Okay, he's a supervisor. This is a quote-unquote supervisor. He's the guy who's going to straighten everything out. And guess what he says? This is why you guys live out here like this. Now there's an uproar about this particular Asian officer being called Jackie Chan. Right here, this guy. There's an uproar about it being racist to call this guy Jackie Chan. Right here. But when this guy says, you guys, what's he mean? What does he mean, you guys? Okay, and even if it's not directly racist, meaning you guys that aren't white or you guys that, you know, are Puerto Rican, wherever neighborhood he's in, I guess he's in the 34th precinct. He's separating them from him. He's not you guys. He is not you guys. He's something completely different than you guys. So how is this guy serving his community when he doesn't even believe he's part of the community? This guy doesn't believe he's part of the community. He's separating. He's saying, this is you guys, you're different than me. You guys are different than me. And this is why you live out here like this. This is why you live like this. Meaning you live different than me. Well, yeah, buddy, I'll bet they do. You're making 115 grand a year. You're making 115 grand a year. How many people do you think are holding this camera making 115 grand a year? The average pay in this country is $35,000 a year. The average household income is $75,000. Household meaning husband and wife. Therefore, the average salary is $35,000. This guy's getting 3 times as much as most people in this country. Maybe even 4 times as much. We don't know what his actual pay is. We just know what the average pay is for police sergeants, which is 115 grand. He could be getting 120 grand. He could be getting 150 grand. We don't know. Not right now. You could find out. So, yeah, they don't live like you, buddy. But he's saying live like this, meaning what? It's lower than him. It's beneath him. He doesn't live like that. He's not one of you, and he doesn't live like that. Now, how can he serve the community? There was a story about a priest that, a father, a guy who helped people who were in need. He would sleep on the floor. He would give up his bed to people, sleep on the floor. He always slept. He slept on the floor whenever anybody needed help. He'd bring him into his house. Doesn't matter how many people there were. Doesn't matter, because he doesn't consider himself above somebody. He is helping his community by being part of the community, being in the community, being invested in the community, understanding the community, relating to the community, being part of the community, understanding the community. Not this guy. This guy clearly says, this is why you guys live out here like this. See, look, and it's just horrible. It's a horrible human being. I got mine, F you. I have no concern for you guys who out here living like this. See, I've got something that you don't. This is why you guys live like this. It's absolutely, it's a disgusting state of mind. Shows literally zero empathy. Literally zero empathy. See, now they call him out, they call him a pussy, and he says, I'm here right now. What's your problem? Let's get it on. I'm here right now, buddy. You got a problem with me? But he's not saying that as a short little white guy who probably can't fight. He's a police sergeant. He might not be. Get Nate Diaz out here. Get Colin McGregor. Looks like he's about his size. You think this guy would be talking shit to Colin McGregor without a badge on? And I'm just naming off some people that you would know in the MMA. There's plenty of people in the MMA whip this guy's ass in 5 seconds. And there's plenty of people training to be MMA guys that would whip this guy's ass in 5 seconds. There's plenty of normal citizens that would whip this guy's ass in 5 seconds. So what gives him the balls to stand here and say, I'm right here? It's not the badge, because the guys in the videos keep saying, take off the badge. Take the badge off. Take the badge off. Take the badge off is what he's saying. In other words, meet me like you are a normal guy telling me what to do. Meet me. Let's talk about it. Which could include, men can get in violent confrontations with each other, but they're consensual. In other words, if I say, hey, we're going to fight, and the guy goes, all right, let's do it. And then just like MMA guys, hey, we're going to fight. We're going to fight for money. We're going to, whatever. We'll do it. Let's do it. It's consensual. A cop beating your ass is not consensual. Nobody asked for a cop to beat their ass. Nobody asked for a confrontation with one of these guys so they can just beat their ass with impunity, with tools to beat their ass, with guns to kill them with tasers to tase them with billy clubs to beat them with flashlights to beat them with. Nobody asked for that. The guy's asking for a fair fight. He's saying, hey, look, take off your badge. Let's have a fair fight. Now this guy right here jumps in and says, turn off the camera. Now, what does that tell you? Turn off the camera? It tells me that if the camera wasn't on, this violent thug right here would violence you in 1 second. And he would come down on you as hard as he wanted to. He could put your head into concrete. He could break your teeth. He could crack your cheekbone. He could give you a concussion. He could fracture your arm. He could dislocate your shoulder. He could do anything he wanted to without the camera on. And guess what you would have to say about it? Nothing. Zero. Because since 1845, these guys have been violencing people with impunity, with absolute impunity. Believe me, in 1845, this cop would have already beaten everybody here. This thug force right here would have already descended on these people with this camera that wouldn't have a camera in 1845 and beat the shit out of them. 1945, beat the shit out of them. 1955, beat the shit out of them. 1965, beat the shit out of them. 1975, just keep going. Just keep going. 20 years later, so 20 years ago, the police assault on Abner Louima and what it means. In August 1997, police officers took Haitian immigrant Abner Louima after yanking his pants down to his knee in the bathroom of the 70th precinct in Brooklyn, where there were no cameras. There, Officer Justin Volpe used a broken broomstick to sexually assault the handcuffed man. Turn the camera off. Turn the camera off, buddy. See, the difference here is the guy with the camera saying, or somebody behind him is saying, take off your badge. Meet me in a fair fight. Meet me in a fair fight, buddy. And this guy's saying, turn your camera off so I can assault you with impunity. So I can violence you with impunity. Turn your camera off so I can beat you. I can assault you. I can hurt you. And nothing's going to happen to me. That's not a fair fight. There's a big, big difference in these citizens calling out their thug behavior and this guy saying, turn off the camera. The guys saying, take off the badge are asking for a fair fight. This guy is asking to beat you and violence you with impunity. And guess what that means? It means he's of the mind state where he will beat you. He will violence you. He will hurt you. Not engage you in a fair fight. Not engage you in a fair fight. There's nothing fair about these guys doing anything. And when you look at why it's not fair, why are they here? Why are these guys here running around in black, violencing you? Because they are members of a cult, a sick cult that's been here for 30,000 plus years. It's called the Black Death Cult. They're members of it. They take an oath. They raise their right hand and they take an oath. How many times have you taken an oath? When you get a job, do you take an oath? Think about it. Every senator takes an oath. Every congressman takes an oath. Every judge takes an oath. Every police officer takes an oath. Why are they all taking oath? Notice they're in government positions. They're in positions over you, positions of power gained from what? Violence. And who's going to violence you on the street level? Who's the most violent thugs on the planet? The police force. Most violent individuals on the planet. Hold on a second. Military guys. Military guys are more violent than cops. Some of the most violent thugs on the planet, right here. They take an oath. If you want to know where the oath came from, it came from 30,000 years ago in a cave, right here. Raise your right hand and put it on a wall. Now you're part of the club. If you didn't have your hand on the wall back then, you weren't part of the club. If you didn't have your hand up here, you weren't part of the club. If you didn't have your hand up here, you weren't part of the club. And I'm talking specifically in a region that we now know as France, Germany, Spain. Put your hand up on the wall. Raise your right hand. That's where these thugs take their oath from. Raise your right hand, thug. Promise to me you're going to be true to me and I'll be true to you. Doesn't matter what Joe Citizen says. Doesn't matter what the guy behind the camera says. Doesn't matter what Joe Schmo on the street who's renting an apartment says. We don't care because you're part of our cult. You're part of our cult. Put down the camera. Put down the camera. See, here we go. He would violence you in 1 second. He's a violent individual. And if you think this just extends to him being a police officer when he's on duty, no. This extends far beyond him being on duty. You meet this guy on the street, you could get violenced by him. You could get violenced by him. 100%. His wife is in danger, by the way. A lot of these cops are horribly violent individuals when they go home. A lot of them. See? And see, that's the thing. They don't have to talk to you. They don't have to engage you. They don't have to say one word to you because they are completely in control. They are getting their money. They are backed by more violent thugs. They're backed by a whole cult. They're backed by a huge cult. You're not. If you're not in the cult, you ain't backed by the cult. You're not backed by the Black Death Cult if you're a community member that has not taken an oath to them. Here's the guy they call Jackie Chan. See, bye Jackie Chan. Look at this guy. This guy's laughing. This is a normal citizen now, walking up the street, laughing. That shows you how much respect these guys have gained over the years. And it's not the citizens' fault. It's these guys' fault for doing the things they've done since 1845. Citizens have a freedom of speech. They can say whatever they want to. They can call you out. They can call you a jerk. They can tell you you're ugly. They can call you Jackie Chan. They can say F you. We have freedom of speech in this country, and it was invented under the most oppressive times. It was invented when the British were here, violencing everybody. The British could violence anybody with impunity. They had guns and you didn't. That's another reason why you have a right to bear arms, because you didn't have that right. Think about it. British people to this day don't have that right. You ever seen the bobbies in London and stuff? They don't carry guns because the citizens don't have guns. But guess who does? Scotland Yard and all the people in the top, they have guns. They can violence the citizens anytime they want to. When you don't have a gun and they have a gun, guess what? They can violence you anytime they want to, which is why they put it in the Second Amendment. They put the First Amendment to speak against King George, to speak against oppressive, violent individuals without the reprise of getting violent or violenced. Let's say, for instance, you're in 1776, and you see a quote-unquote redcoat. I want to see his head on a pike. What would he do to you? What would the British soldier do to you? He would violence you. He would violence you any way he wanted to, with impunity. Who's going to stop him? Nobody. Nothing. Zero. So they wrote down, hey, we want to have freedom of speech, which means we want to tell King George, F you. That's what these people are doing. They're basically saying, F you. They're exercising their free speech, telling these oppressive thugs, hey, F you. But guess what the oppressive thugs do? They just walk off. They don't care. They do not care. See, this is a great illustration right here, because this guy right here is not Black Death Cult. This guy is. Look at him. He's got his voyageur on. Look at his voyageur. I'm just not a normal citizen. I'm not you. This is why this guy in the beginning said, this is why you guys, meaning you guys, live like this. You live here in this section of town, in these buildings, doing what you're doing. You're different than me. I'm not the same as you. You're different than me. You're not me. You're different than me. You're not me. You guys live like this. I live completely different than you. I'm better than you. I have more money than you. I live in a nicer place than you. I don't act like you. I don't believe the same things that you believe. That's what he's saying. And then people think it's racist that they call this guy Jackie Chan. And I'm not going to defend it. I'm not defending it. I'm not defending anybody's comments. I'm saying we have freedom of speech in this country. If you think it's racist, I'm okay with that. I don't have an opinion on it. I don't know if it's racist or not. But what I do know, once again, like I'm saying, that having a conversation about this guy being called Jackie Chan is 100% getting away from the whole issue of These people having the ability to violence you anytime they want to, these people belonging to a cult, and this cult being bigger than any cult we've ever known in the history of man. And it's completely controlling and ruling man. That's the real issue. The real issue is, why do these people walk around and violence you? Why can these people walk around and violence you? Why would this guy violence you? How can he violence you with impunity? Why is he out there violencing you? Not that this guy got called Jackie Chan. That's not the issue. The issue is, why is there a thug force out on your streets controlling you, controlling your behavior? Chicago mayor says you cannot go on long bike rides. Playgrounds are shut down. You must abide by the order. You must listen to me. I can't emphasize that we abide by the rules. Once again, she's standing behind Voisin. She's taken an oath. And guess who else has taken an oath with her? These guys have taken an oath with her. Doesn't matter if you call it Chicago, New York, Detroit, Miami. It doesn't matter. They've all taken the same oath. It's all combined together. It's all a cult. All of these people, they're all together in a gigantic, huge cult that is controlling the world. That's what you're missing when you start getting into a debate about whether or not calling this guy Jackie Chan is racist. So it's my hope that one day we can escape the violence. It is my true hope that one day we can escape the violence.